What's up? Today, I'm going to show you how to design a Notion project and task board that allows you to keep all of your project assets and tasks in one place and add new resources and tasks to your project simply and easily. So let me just show you really quick what you're going to be able to do. So here I have a project. I want to add a task that says, find John. And then I want to add a resource that says get the passwords for Cyberdyne. And if you go into the project here, you will see that the inbox resources get right here. And you see the tasks show up right here. And it also shows you the progress bar. So if you move your projects or your tasks over, it automatically updates the project bar. It also shows you the total tasks that you have. So you can quickly go into your project and have access to all of the things that you need to do for this project. And so you can get started right away. So let's jump into it. Okay. So the first thing you're going to do is go into, I'm going to start one totally from scratch so you can see how it works. And I'm going to call this databases. And I'm going to create 3 databases. Each one is going to be a full page. The first one I'm going to create is called task database. Now you can call these things, these databases, anything you want. There just needs to be, you need to have some kind of where you can find them easily and where they're not the same name as any of your other databases. This one we will call project database. And then the last one you're going to have is resource database. 3 would be, okay. So now you have your 3 databases. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go and build out the databases. So the task database is going to have a few different properties. I'm going to delete tags because I'm not going to use that. But first one I'm going to do is add a relation. And this is going to relate to the project database. And I'm going to select that. And I'm going to call this tasks. I'm going to call it project. So you have this here. So you have a relation that's related to the project, and you're going to show this database on the project's database, and the name of that property is going to be tasks. Okay. Then you're going to add status, and you can kind of build out any statuses you want. I'm going to leave these the same here. And then I'm going to create another one called done. And this will make it easy for me to kind of archive the project when I don't want to use it or don't have it anymore. Okay. Then we're going to go to project database and do the same thing. We're going to open this up, and you can see here, and this is really important, that this is attached to the tasks now, but we need to make sure that they're connected. They all have to be connected for us to be able to do the progress bar. All of the databases need to be connected to one another. So now we're going to create one. So now that we have a relation that's already says tasks, we're good. So let's create a few other properties here. One that's called status, and I'm going to create another one, checklist. I'm going to call this archive. Okay. And then you can add any other properties you want, like, created time or whatever. All right. Now that we got those, let's go back into resource database. And for resource database, we're going to turn this into a Kanban board, and we're going to create a few different boards. We're going to create inbox and ideas. And that is for any kind of ideas that you have that you don't know if they're tasks yet, you don't know if they're resources, you don't know whatever. It's just a quick place for you to put in all of the things that you really don't know what to do with yet. Meetings is for a record of all the meetings that you have and calls that you have for this particular project. Then we're going to create one that's called resources. And this could be anything like logos. It could be, documents you get from clients. It could be scripts that you're writing, anything. And the last one will be logins. So essentially what you want to have here, I'm going to move these over. And so the hidden groups, anything with no tags is a hidden group. And you're not going to really have anything without any tags. They're automatically going to go into inbox, and I'll show you how to do that. But you can have anything that you want to be able to reference for the project. So if you have another column or another group of things that you want to remember. So let's say that you wanted to add brand assets, for example, and then you put all of the design files in here. I would just put it under resources, and I would have one that says brand assets. And then I would turn this into a board with all the brand assets, but you kind of do whatever you want. So you go to this project and you have access to everything on right in the project. So you can just pick up right where you left off. Okay. So now we have all this stuff together. We're going to go into the projects database and we're going to create a new template. So I'm going to delete all of these and I'm going to go to new template and I'm going to call this project template. And you'll see why I call it project template in a second. You want to make sure this is a different name than the rest of the things that you're working on. And you're going to create, I'm going to open this up in a full page and then you're going to do two columns. I'm going to make this full width. One is going to be called tasks. And then I'm going to duplicate this and do resources. I'm going to move this into the second column here. Now we have two columns. And then we're going to add into tasks, we're going to do something called a linked database. And we're going to link the task database. Okay. So we have the task database is now linked. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to do link view database, and then we're going to do a resource database. So now you have a template. Every time you create this template, it'll create a task database. It'll create this it'll drop in these linked databases with the resources and the tasks for the project. Now, what we need to do is we need to make sure that when you create this template, only the tasks for this project show up, not tasks from the main database. So if you go back to databases, you'll see there's a resource database here, and you probably won't view this resource database like this because this database is going to have all the resources from all of your projects. And I suggest having a database, one database for all of the resources, because then you can go through this database and you can find any resource that you have across projects. If you have them in different databases, it gets really hard to organize stuff and to find stuff. But when this starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger, you'll see each one has a different project attached to it. So you can create different views, and it gives you a lot of flexibility and allows you to find all of the things that you need across databases quickly and easily, and also create different views. And trust me on this one, it's going to make your life a lot easier. All right. So we got tasks and resources. I want to turn this into a board, and you'll see it automatically hides these groups. I don't like that. So I'm going to go show all, and for resources, I'm going to turn this into a list because it allows me to see everything really quickly. And again, I'm going to go into group and do show all. It'll show all. Okay. So now this is how I want it to look. I'm going to hide these database titles because I don't need to see these. Now what we're going to do is we want to connect this template to the project that we're working on. So when we create this new template, we want any new tasks to show up that we create. We want them to show up on this project only and to not show every single task from our database. So what you're going to do is go into filter, project, click on advanced filter where it says project contains project template. This is really important because what you're doing is you're telling this filter that whenever a task is added, it's going to add to this page. It won't be the project template, but it'll be the page that you created from the template. Okay. And it's kind of confusing, but just trust me on this one. And I'm also going to create a trigger that says when the status is moved to, I want to set done to checked. We need to go back into resources. And one thing that we didn't do is connect resources to projects. So watch this. So now we're going to do a relation project database, and I'm going to call this project. I'm going to add a relation. I'm going to call this resource. So now all of these databases are connected. Before this resource one, it wouldn't show. Let's go back into templates. I'm going to change this to default, and then I'll go back into resources. And now we want to go into filter and where project contains project template. Now what we've done is we created this little template that will show all the tasks for this and all the resources. And we can easily add tasks and resources to this project without having to manually select the project. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make these minimal, and that moves them down here because they're already showing here, right? Let's create a new project here. I'm going to change this to gallery. That's how I like to look at it. I'm going to do page cover. I like to look at it from large, and I'm going to open this up in full page. So name this one, Find Sarah Connor. Okay. And I'm going to add a cover because I love kind of making things look beautiful, position it. But okay. So now we have this project here. So if we go back in and we click on add task, let's do find John, get guns, find Miles. And now what's happened is you can see that it's added 3 tasks to this. That's how you know it's been set up correctly. And let's add a new idea, hack into Cyberdyne. And you can see there's now a resource here. And these were added right into the project. And if you click on the task, you can see that the project is already been added. Same thing with this resource here, project find Sarah Connor. Okay. And you'll notice it's been tagged as an inbox idea. And I'll show you how to do that in a second. So let's go back into our template, because if we're making any changes to it, what happens sometimes is that you'll start messing around with this page here. You'll add all stuff down here, and then you'll forget you're not working on the template, and you'll be like, dang it, I need to copy all this into the template. So better to just make sure that you're at the template whenever you're making any changes to this bottom part. Now we're going to do the progress bar. What we're going to do is add a roll-up property. Type is roll-up, and then we're going to select tasks because we've connected those tasks, databases already, so they're connected. Status, and then we're going to show % complete, and then into a bar. Okay. And I'm not going to add any tasks in here yet because this is the template, right? So it'll kind of mess it up, but let me change this to progress. And I like changing this to a progress type looking bar thing. All right. So progress is empty. Let's make sure it's going to show as % and a bar. And then I'm going to add another one because I just like to see how many tasks I have for this project. So property is going to be name, and I'm just going to count all, and that's going to be a number. Then I'm going to call this total tasks. And I'm going to pick this thing because I don't know what it is. I'm going to move this down here. I want to move archive down, progress total tasks. Okay, great. So now let's go back. We're going to get out of this template. And if we go back in here, you can see that there's 3 tasks. And if I move one over to done, the progress bar will move over. So I'm going to move them all. I'm going to move actually this one to done so you can see what it looks like when we get the views all put together. So let's go back into project database. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the progress property, and I'm going to show status. So now I can see really quickly the project database. I can change this table. I can hide this view, and I can see the tasks. I can see the resources, total tasks. So find Sarah Connor. All right. Now we want to make it really easy to add tasks and resources to this project without having to go into here, go into tasks, click new. And Notion makes this really easy because they added a button feature. So this button, I'm going to call new task. I'm going to call this add task. And I like to add this little plus button here. If you can, is it showing up? Yeah. So you can see here, it's add new task, add task. You might want to change this to a check mark so you can see that it's a task. Okay. Now when the button is clicked, we're going to add page, a task database. Okay. And the name is going to be untitled, and we have to make sure to select the project. We want the project to be associated with the one that we're on, right? So you click project, this page, and as a last step, you can open up the task so you can put in what you want. You're going to make sure to select new page added. And I like to do center peak. Now I'm going to move up to the top, and you can actually add buttons down here too. So if you wanted to add a button that's just like add task, you can add it here, but they've also allowed you to do it on here. And the cool thing about this is you can add the task right from the project's gallery view. Okay. All right. And let's add a new one for our resource. So let's do button and new resource, add resource. And we're going to do button is clicked. You're going to add the action is add page to the database, which is project resources or resource database. Sorry. Name is untitled. And then we want to connect it to this project. So project will be this page. And then I also want to make sure that when it's put in there, it's not put in as untagged. It's put in as an inbox. So any new task or any new resource that I add in here will go right into the inbox ideas and not into the untagged. And I want to open the page because remember it'll do the new page added in center peak so I can put in the resources. And let's go back up here, new resource. And I like to change these little icons to new resource. Cool. All right, we'll go back to project database and back to properties. Now let's show the new resource and new task. And I'm going to move these to the top, new resource and new task, the percent completed and the status. And I can change this easily. And the only other thing that I want to do here is I want to make sure there's an icon added for projects. So I'm going to change it manually here. If I go back in here into database or template and click add icon, I can add this icon. This icon will be added automatically every time I add a new project. Let's add a task. We need to get more guns. We ran out of guns and I just click away from it. And then I need to add a resource. We need to get all the gun manuals because I don't know how to use guns. Let's add another task. We need to find Arnold. And when I'm adding tasks, you can see this percentage go down, right? Because I'm adding more tasks, time machine. Okay. So if we go back into this project, we have the ones that we just added, find Arnold, get more guns. We have the gun manuals added into resources. And you could also add more buttons. Like if you wanted to do a button that says add new meeting or add new login or add new design file to whatever you want, and it'll drop it right into here. So when you come into this project, you can see all of the resources that we've had, the meetings, logins, you can see all the tasks, and they're all attached to the project. Make your life super, super easy. Now, if you don't want to do this all by yourself, I'm going to add this really simple database as a template that you can download. Just go down below and you can download the template and you can use it. You can make any changes to it that you want. Go down in the link below. You can find a description where you can find the link to download this template, and hope you've enjoyed this and that it's been helpful for you and that it makes your life so much easier because it has mine. All right. We'll catch you later.